Welcome to Power BI YouTube tutorial. So before we delve deep into this, let me show you what the task you're going to actually encounter in this particular course is. If you want to try your design skill, just go get this data, download it, and let's go through the process step by step on my screen right now. We have a blank PBRX here. Nothing is actually on it. The next thing we're going to go into now is to actually click on Get Data and try to get the data we have just seen. Let us do this setting before we start loading our data into Power BI. So go to File, kindly follow me, and Option and Settings. So from there, click on Options. Then from here, click on Data Load. So now you're going to deactivate this. So deactivate this relationship and this very one here, because we don't want Power BI to create automatic relationship between our tables for us. Then we can do it all by ourselves and learn from it. But if you've mastered this, you can actually leave it the way it is. But I actually urge you to do this as well. So this does not actually going to affect the other files or subsequent project you're going to create. As you can see, we did this on the current file. You get it? So just go ahead and click on OK. That is all you have to do before we proceed to bring in our data. So the data is actually CSV. I'm going to click on that and I'm going to walk into where we have the data right in. So let us first of all get our 3 fact tables into Power Query. So this is the first fact table here. I'm going to click on Open. So there you go. You can actually choose to load this if this data is sure to you that is some kind of clean. So if you are not really sure, go ahead and transform the data. Then this is going to push it into Power Query. All right, welcome to the Power Query environment. The first thing I do, because I have 3 different fact tables, what I'll do is to make sure I specify which one is this. So right here, you can see under this particular properties, you can decide to change the name. I'm going to put underscore right here, and I'm going to give this one transaction. So that is the fact table that we have here, transaction. And before we do any other thing, let us go to new source right now. And from new source, I'm going to click on the same CSV and I'm going to get in under fact table. And that fact table is actually named return. So what we do, we push it as well, click on OK. So there we have it. So we just quickly name this one under fact table. So underscore return. There, that is exactly what it is. So we do another one again, go to CSV. So we have this particular product cost here as another fact table. Don't worry, I'm going to show you why all those are fact table. In case you don't know what fact table is, don't worry about that. So click on go. Then you'll click on OK here. So our third fact table is here. We've just gotten all our fact table. Now let us see what is fact table. So you have just seen what a fact table is. A fact table just actually, collect your day-to-day transaction. That is a simple term to use to describe fact table. Now let us get the dimensional tables we are going to use for this dashboard. So the first dimensional table is our customers. So click on OK. We can decide to name this one a lookup table or a dimensional table. Let me just name it a lookup table. Maybe that will be much more simple to my new subscribers that I just come into analytics for the first time. Here we have it as a lookup table, and we'll go ahead and grab more of it. And this time around, we are going to get for product. So we look at where we have our product. So double click on that. So go ahead and click OK. Then we're going to name this one lookup. So lookup, I'm going to have my underscore here, product. Those are my dimensional tables. So let us grab our product category in here. We go into it and we just click on this. So we can scroll down a little bit and get to where we have the category right in. Right, it occurs to me that the product categories are not here, but they're actually joined with our main product. What can we do? Let us cancel this. And now if I scroll through to this particular part right here, you can see where we have the category name and the subcategory name. So what do? We actually normalize this table. Okay, now that you have seen what normalization is, let us see how to normalize this table and make sure we keep what can stand on its own table without we mixing it up with this table. Then it can actually increase the speed of the query in this particular report or dashboard. Let's do that. The very first thing you do is to right click here. So once you right click, you're gonna see where it says duplicate. Then you have that. Then I'm gonna just double click on this and name this word my lookup underscore product category. So if I hit my enter, I've just done this. I'm gonna do the same thing again. Have this one duplicated again. I can just do this to be some kind of subcategory. So here we have 2 of them. So what do I do to actually eliminate duplicates and as well, get off all those columns I would not need? So if you go to home here, you can see where they say choose columns. I'm going to click on that and I will go into choose columns here. Then all my columns will be shown right here. So those are the columns I have. So I'm doing for subcategory. I'm going to deselect everything here and just get the subcategory name and click OK. So that eliminates other columns away from me. So the next thing I do now is for me to actually right click, and when you right click, you can actually remove duplicate. So we have the unique list of our subcategories. That is beautiful. So we want to actually reconnect this back to the main product table where we're getting this from. So what is next? You go to add column. From add column, you can just click on this particular index column here. And I'm going to double click on this and name this one subcategory ID. So that is all. So move this one here. It's not really compulsory, but I just want to do that. So we do the same thing to this very one here. And the next thing we go into now, go to home, or you can use this particular way to do it. So here is our category name here. If I right click now, I can say remove other columns. I've just achieved the same thing. So right click again and remove duplicates. So we have the unique list. Go to add column and I can decide to make sure my index numbers is being customized. So I'm going to actually customize this. I will have a starting index. Like let's say my starting index is going to be 1. I want to have increment of like 10. So it's optional. You can choose to use the previous one. So a unique ID. So protein has 1, 11, 21, 31, and 41. It's optional though. If you want to do this, I just want to show you that something like that can be done. So here is my category ID. I'm going to put product. So here we go. You can move it this way. It's optional. I've told you. You can decide to leave it that way. Okay, we've just gotten those 2, tables created. The next thing I'm going to do now is to make sure I join them with this particular one here. And after that, what do? We remove those columns and we're going to have a unique table for our subcategory and our category. So let us see the first thing we're going to do. So go back to home. And right here, if I click on this particular merge query, it's going to merge the tables for me. Let's do that. So now this is what we have. The next thing we're going to do right now is to click right here and select the table. So what table do we want to select? We have lookup subcategory. So why do we have lookup subcategory 2 here? That is what I'm trying to get into. Okay, I think this happened when we duplicate the second one. So we just have to go back. I'm gonna click right here, and I can click right on this one and now have this particular tool removed. We don't need that to be there. So that will give us something that will make a lot of sense. So now we can click on our product. So from there, we can go to merge query, and now we can select our subcategory. So we just have to look for what is common between 2 of them. This table has this particular subcategory name. If I scroll to this end, I have the same subcategory name here. So we need to have 100% match, which is going to be the same number from the first table and same number from the last table, right? That is better. So once we've just gotten that done, so we can just go ahead and click on OK. So now we have this. I'm going to click on this one here. Then deselect this. All I just need from that table is my ID, and I'm going to just uncheck this and click on OK. So now we have this right here. Let us go for the second one. That is for the category itself. So we do the same thing. So we go through here. So we look for where we have our product category right in. So what is common is category. So you scroll, you have the category name. So here has to be equal number. And if that is cool, go ahead and click on OK. And click on this, do this, and just get the ID there. Click on OK, and that is better. So right now we don't necessarily need to have those 2 columns right here because we have ID that connects it to the unique, or the dimensional table or lookup table. So the next thing I do now is for me to move this one to the beginning. So now we have it right here. Instead of us to actually start scrolling, so we can just do the move like this to the beginning, and there you go. So those serves as our dimensional table or our lookup table. Are you still feeling like, what the heck are you talking about? What's lookup table or dimensional table? Let's see that. Now you have just seen what a dimensional table or a lookup table is all about. So dimensional tables actually contains your primary keys. Those keys we have here, they are primary keys because they appear just once. You will not see 0 repeat itself over again inside the same data. 5 will not repeat itself. If you have a unique list of ID, that means you have your primary key, and that table is called dimensional table or lookup table. Okay, what if we have repetition of keys? Let us go to lookup. Okay, let us go to fact table like return, for example. Under return, we have a particular ID repeating itself over and over again. Let us select 2, for example. So, okay, I think this is not the best key to use to explain this. I'm going to clear this out. So the transactional fact table will be an ideal to be used for this explanation. So if I actually click here right now, I can actually see what is going on with 325. And as you can see, we have repetition of this key here. At least we have this key to repeat itself over and over again. What we have here in this particular column is called foreign key. So that made it to be our fact table or a transactional table where we have the records of daily transaction. A particular person can come into our store 5, 10, 20 good times in a day, in a week, in a month, and 100 times in a year. You understand? So this table is actually called our fact table because it has, more of repetitive keys. While those ones with lookup, we can call it dimensional table, has primary keys. So foreign keys on the fact table, primary keys on the lookup table. Now you know. So after getting all our data into Power Query, the next thing we do is to do some check-ins to see if everything is okay. Remember, we filtered. We have to clear the filter from here. So we've cleared the filter. never allow any filter to be on it. If you don't need that filter, make sure you have it cleared. So now this is what we have. I'm going to scroll to this end to check for my data types. At least I have to be sure of what I'm going to get into. Now everything is okay. If you want to do auto data check, so I can actually do Ctrl A, and if I come into transform here, I see the text data type right here. So click on it. It's going to walk through all the columns and fix all the data types for you. So the data is not in anywhere that bad. So everything is cool. Everything is okay. We can keep this. Right. So what we need to do next is for we to push this into Power BI, and our analysis starts from there. So let's do that. So you have 3 different options. You can close and apply, you can apply, you can close. When you close and apply, it closes this particular interface for you and take you to Power BI straight up. When you apply, you stay in the same page and it applies the changes to Power BI. When you close, that means you're actually going to put this data here and go to Power BI without getting this data into Power BI. We don't want that. We just want to use close and apply. All right, our data is here. If I click on this part now, I can see my data. All my tables are actually right here. I can decide to see it based on the relationship view right here. If I click on it, this is what I have. Let me just minimize this and put it on something like 70. That shows all the tables. So why can't we see the data appeared here? So if you're not using new version yet, please go ahead and update your version to my version. Then you will definitely have the same flow with me. So we can activate data right here. And here we go. We can activate the format. So you can switch between this and this. That is for the new update of Power BI, in the, I think that was in the March version. So okay, now before we do anything, we need to create the table. But before we do that, let me make you understand something. If I click here, I'm gonna come to fact table, product cost here. We have a date column inside here, and if we do the same thing for the return, you can see we have 2 date tables in the return. We have the date when this particular product was returned and when the same product that was returned was ordered, right? And if we go right to this particular table as well, so we can now see we have some kind of 3 different types of dates: order date, due date, and the shipping date. So it's a little bit complex. You might not see the complexity right now until we begin to work with this. So for that, we are going to actually create a date table that only look at this particular column. Else, if we do not restrict our calendar auto from looking at other columns, our calendar auto might end up not picking from here. Instead, it's going to pick from here or pick from other tables that has date. So for that, we have to be very, very specific about where we want to actually use for our date table in all the columns that contains date, right? So let us begin the process. The very first thing we do, I'm going to click on table 2, and under calculations here, you can see we have new measure, quick measure, a new column, then new table. So what do you think you're going to use? New table, of course. So click on that and let's see how we can actually create this date table. All right, the very first thing I'm going to do right now is for me to actually name my table as calendar. So calendar. So let me just bring it out a little bit. So we're gonna zoom. So this is my calendar, and inside this calendar, I just want to have Shift Enter Calendar Auto here. So what will Calendar Auto do? Calendar Auto will scan all the tables and return the max and the minimum date we have, right, for us. So let us see this. I will definitely change this to this one here. Then now we can see we have this. I want to quickly extract my year for me to see how many years of data I have. And to do that, we can do that with calendar or add columns here. So add column, you come down, you put your comma, shift down, and now we can actually extract the year by naming the column with year inside double quotation with your comma. So you bring your year function. So this is the year function, and you supply the dates column, which is this one right here. Scroll up a little bit, and now you find this one with the square bracket. Go ahead and close this, shift enter, now close your add column. So if I hit my enter key right now, let's see what we have. So we can now check the year, and this year has to do with the 2010 to 2013. So we have to do the verification to see if this is really fitting from the right source. All right, coming back to the fact table here, you can do the check. You see this one has 2011, and you can actually sort ascending, and it's stopped at 2013. So this can be some kind of confusing because we have the same date right here as well. So it is better we point it to this particular column. How do we do that? We have to go back to the one we are creating, and here we are. So I'm gonna start back here at this, shift enter. You can see where we are. Oh, sorry, no need for this again. So now we're gonna actually create a variable to do just that. So I'm gonna name my variable max date. So variable max, I'm gonna put v max what? Max year instead, max year. So it's gonna be equal to, and inside this max year, I want to store the date from the column I really want to use, and that is gonna be my year, and I'm gonna pull in the max from the fact table transaction. So fact table transaction, we're gonna look for the order date. So here is the order date. Can you see that now? Don't worry about those particular ones right here. So just go ahead and close your max and close the year, right? So shift down arrow again. So we create another variable. So inside this variable, what we want to store is actually the mean year right here. So I'm going to type year, and I'm going to bring in the mean, and we just have to go to order. And once we do that, we should actually use the one coming from the transactional table. That is the order date, right? So we close this. So we've done justification to this. What we've just done now is for we to store in our max date from that particular column called, our fact table transaction, and the mean date or year from the fact table transaction. So after we have done this, how can we make use of this? So when you use variable, just know that you have to have a return. So we're gonna just say return, and under the return, we want to use this particular variable we've created to filter our calendar auto, right? So shift down, I think we go down. So here you can see, please follow me accordingly. So just make sure your cursor is beneath add columns. So now we're gonna use filter. And the filter is going to filter the calendar auto we have right here. So I'm going to do under shift enter again. And inside here, what I want to do right now, I'm going to say where the year from what? The year from this particular calendar auto. Remember, calendar auto generates this. So I'm going to put my date, just the one with square bracket right here. So we want to say, I'm going to close this. And I would say where it is less than or equal to the mean date. So v mean year, okay? And we're gonna put n, the 2 ampersand will give us and the year. So we'll bring the date again. The one with square bracket is this particular column right here. So we close it, and we say where it is actually less than or equal to this time around v max year, right? So you can decide to step this into a new line, shift enter, and once you have done that, shift enter, you close this and you put your comma. That actually completes your code for you. I know it's a little bit complicated, but if you remember this and you encounter a very terrible complex tables with lots of dates, you can actually use this to point calendar auto to the column you really want to use for your analysis or for your date creation whatsoever. If I hit enter, it might not change anything, but behind the scenes something has happened. We have just used this particular order date here in the fact table transaction just for our purpose. So for that, it's going to ignore any date we have inside our product cost, our fact table returns, and other columns right here. So we've just done all that. So now we can start adding more columns to this. The first column I'm going to add right now is called okay, let me add there. I'm going to show you how to add those columns, even though if we are not going to need those columns in this particular project. So shift enter to go into a new line. And right now I'm going to add there. So here is your column name, day. So you close this. If I just put my comma, I can put my day right here. So with this day function, I can supply the date. And remember, the date is actually the one with the square bracket. So I will add more column before I hit enter. And this one, I'm going to name it my month number. So month num for month number. I close this. I type my month here as function. So I supply the date right inside it. So just use the one with the square brackets. So close, comma. Then comes my main month. So the month name now, month itself. So we use the format function here, and the format function will still ask for your date column again. So we supply that, comma. How do we want to format the month? We want a short month. We put just 3 M's and we close this. I'm going to put under comma again. This time around, I want to actually create my week. So before the weekday, we need to actually set the weekday, right? We need the week number. So shift enter, and right here, I'm going to type in week num, close this. I'm going to put my comma right here. And the next thing I do is to use the weekday function, and I supply the date. We use the one with the square bracket, tab to just commit it, close this, and your comma key, then shift enter into the new line. So now it's going to be my weekday. So the weekday, close this, comma. For the weekday, we use the format again and supply the date, the one with the square bracket, tab, comma, then open this, day for the short format. Then you close this again. So can you see now, we have gotten our weekday right here. So what is actually next right now? We need to actually get our quarter. How do we get our quarter? So we put under comma, shift, enter. We go with this, and I'm going to say QTR. So it's going to be QTR for quarter. We close this, we hit the comma key, and we still use the format again. We do the date, we get this, comma. So we use, is it /? I don't know. So you do QQ, you close this, and once I hit my enter key right now, let's see what we're gonna have. Lots of column will be pulled in right here. So we've just gotten our columns here. Can you see it? So those are all the columns we've just added. Okay, one more thing I'm going to show you before we definitely, get through with our calendar is how do we know if it is a weekday or a weekend. So we can see this particular week number here. It has 1 and 1 for Sunday and 7 for Saturday, right? So I cannot add that inside my code right here. What I need to do right now is to actually add it as a new column itself. All right. In order to add a new column, you can go to table tools right here, and you see new column here. So once you click on new column, then new column will be inserted. All right, we've just gotten a new column, and the next thing is to actually just name this one week day versus week end. So I'm going to put my equal sign here, shift, then tab key to indent it. All right, now in this second line, we're going to use a function called switch. So how do we start this? You can type in switch here. So switch and type in true is the function. So put a comma, shift, enter, just to make sure our code is very clear to read. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is this. You can read through to see what switch wants, the expression, the value, and the result. So return different results depending on the value of an expression. So let me just walk you through. We're going to use this particular column to determine if it's a weekend or a weekday. I will just say week number here. So this is my week number. If the week number is equal to 1, so which means that is actually Sunday and is weekend. So I'm going to put week end here. So comma. So down for the next one, I'm going to say week number again. The week number is equal to 7. So that is going to be another weekend. So we put week end again. So if it is not between those two, let it be comma again. Sorry, double quotation. We don't need to actually specify the column again. So that means if the result is not true, the else is going to be weekday instead. So this is going to be some kind of true and false. If it walks through it row by row and finds 1, it will make it true and give us weekend. So if it finds 7, it will make it true and give us weekend as well. So if it does not find 1 and 7, so which means it's going to be some kind of false for the column and to return weekday for us. That is all we just need to know. If I hit my enter right now, let's see what the result would look like. So there we go. Let us find out where is our weekend. So we just want to see the weekend here, and the weekend is actually all this 1 and 7, that is Sunday and Saturday. This is exactly what it is. We've just created this particular weekday weekend, so I'm going to clear the filter. So we have the full table. We've just gotten our table right here, but something is going to be a little bit not cool with this date table. Let me show you what that is. So I'm going to come here, right click. You can add visual. So I just love this new interface. So here now I'm going to say add data. I'll go to my calendar and I'll choose to get the month here. So with the month here, let's see how the month is sorted. And I'm going to copy this, paste it here. So shift it and actually make a change. So just come and click here to change this to the weekday and see how everything is being sorted. So April to September and Friday to Wednesday. That is awkward. That was why we created a particular column called, so let's just go into here. And I'm going to actually close this, then we can see it better. So now that was why I created this particular week number and month number. All we need to do now is to actually make sure we click on this and we go into this particular column tools and use the sort by here and sort by month number. So after we have sorted this by month number, we can go ahead and look at the results that we have. Let's see that. Now it's sorted from January down to December. So let us try the same thing on this one. I can do it right from here. I can click on my weekday. Once I have my weekday clicked on, so I just want to collapse this. I don't want to see it. Please take a look at this Friday to Wednesday. Then we can choose to go to sort by here and sort by week number. So just don't blink and look at what we have here. Now it's corrected for us. Beautiful. All right, the next thing we need to do right now is to actually make sure we go to table 2 and we mark this. We are still on this particular calendar table. So we are going to mark it as a date table. So we click on this and we click on this. That has been validated successfully. We can go ahead and click on OK. So we have just completed this. All right, what is next, ladies and gentlemen? The next one now is the modeling. So when we come here, we can now see what we have just done. So here is our calendar table. All of it, all the columns we've added is right here. This is what we're going to use right inside our modeling. So the next thing now is to arrange our table and start to actually create our relationship all by ourselves. If you have not still hit the subscribe button, you might need to do that. Leave a comment, let me know what you feel about this, and as well, follow the series and know how everything goes. All right, it is the right time to start organizing our table. So first of all, I want to organize all my fact table right below here. So I'm going to bring my fact table here. So my main fact table should be here. And this one, I want to make sure I have it right here. I'm just going to set them right in here. So The next thing now is all our lookup table. So I want to bring my calendar. Then I'm going to check this one here. So just follow my arrangement. You now know why I'm doing all this. So my customer will be here. So I'm going to push my customer here. Then I don't have to click on that. So we just made a mistake. So click on this to have this disappear, or you can actually have it collapsed. So now we can have this arranged. I'm going to arrange this right here, and those ones will be arranged here. Those will be arranged here. So here we go. Nicely done. So this is exactly what it is. All right, for you to have a very cool connection, what you need to do is to look into this particular dimensional table here, or this lookup table, and try to see what is the relationship between this table and this particular table. So let us do like something that gets us a good result. Okay, fine. We can use the scroll to scroll through and see what it is that we have here. So under here, as you can see, we have product key. We have, if I scroll down, just make sure you take it up a little bit. So we have country code here. So we have the date as well here. So as you can see, this is actually related to just two tables. That is the product and the date. So we find that and we just create a connection. So here is our calendar. I'm going to actually create this relationship, and that will give me one to many, flowing from the top to the bottom, right? So the one side is here and the many side will be here. So the star shows the many side and the one shows the one side. One date, many dates repeated itself over and over again. And we're going to connect this one to our product. So we have to locate the product key, just drag it and have it right here. And that creates another one to many relationship for you. Do you see that? So here you go. We've just done this. So the next thing we look into again is just for we to come here under our fact table, transaction. We can now see that we have due date, we have order date, and we have made specification when we were actually creating our date table that we want our date or calendar auto to fetch from this particular column. So for that, we're going to drag this column into here to create connection, and that is going to be another one to many relationship. Another table that this has relationship to is our customer table and our product table. So here we go ahead and grab our customer key and we'll bring it into here. So beautiful. We've just done that. We can scroll down and find where we have our product key right in. So drag it into this particular product key here. So those are the relationships that existed inside our fact table transaction. So it is the turn of this particular one called the return fact table. So it's gonna be connected to our product. Here is the product key. And next is gonna be the order date. The order date. We wanna see how many return we have in a particular month, week, days, or wherever. And the next one is going to be our customer table. So once we see the customer key, just know it's our customer table. You locate the key and you have it right there. So we've done that. All right. Remember, we have these tables, these two tables here are created from this particular table, and we link it over here after all. What do we do? So it is the high time to create a connection. That was why we should give a particular name to the keys that we can find right here. So now we have a subcategory ID. So it's going to be connected to subcategory ID here. But look at what I'm doing. That is wrong. That is wrong. Totally wrong. We've just done something weird. We created this in a weird way. instead of us to actually have this on subcategory, we went to have it on the category. So what do? How do we some kind of correct this? I did this purposely because I want to show you how you can actually fix this if you have this issue. So right click, go to properties, or you can double click and it is still going to open the property field. As you can see, wrong relationship. So subcategory ID should go to subcategory ID. We have to switch it from product category ID to the subcategory ID here. So we've just corrected it. So let's see what will happen if I click on OK. So that has been corrected for us. So if I hover over this now, you look at it. So now we can now take this and plug it into this particular one right here. That gives you another one-to-many relationship. So if you follow my step to do this, you will see that this is not in any way complicated. It's very, very easy to track which ID is connected to which, right? Okay, let me take you down right here and actually tell you why you should not connect those particular tables together. So right here, you can see you have your customer key and you have customer key right here. When you try to do this, let's see what you're going to have. So I'll drop this right here. So we have this error. Why do we have this error? Because it's actually creating many-to-many relationship, which is not an ideal. We can't use this, but we can still decide to do this if truly you want to actually get to use this. But why do you want to do this when you have dimensional tables that could be used to connect this? So don't make any mistake to connect these tables together. So because it's going to generate one-to-many. All we have in those tables are actually foreign keys here. We have foreign keys here. So they're all foreign keys. And in the above tables, what we have in the above tables are all primary, they are all primary keys. So we have primary keys here. So we have under primary keys right here. So what comes into here now makes this part here to contain two foreign keys and that foreign key here. So that was why we have one-to-many relationship. So we have primary key here. This is our primary key here. So that actually connects to those particular tables, right? So we have primary key here. So primary key here. In case you have forgotten what foreign key is and what primary key is, primary key are your unique keys. It doesn't repeat itself over and over again. You just have one key representing one single product, one single customer. You just have one single date in your calendar table. But right here, you can have one date repeated over and over again, one product ID repeating itself over and over again here, and one product key or date key repeating itself over and over again right here. That makes it your foreign key. Study all this, your life will be very easy when it comes to analytics. So this is exactly what you really need to do before we go into the deep dark aspect of this particular course. Okay, we're gonna be doing this batch by batch. So in the next batch, we'll start writing DAX to compute what we need before we set for visualization. Okay, I want you to remember our goals. Our goals is to create something that looks just as simple as this. So this has in-page navigation. We are seeing the top 6 customer that has the highest return. We can decide to see top 3, top 4, and now it's going to change to top 4. If I click on product, it shows us the top 4 products that has the highest return, and we can decide to see more details, and this is exactly what we see. So we are seeing the details about transaction on a weekly basis, on the yearly basis, and we can decide to see that on quantity order, and we can switch to net sales, we can switch to profit right here, and we might want to see the detail of our products. So now when we click on this, we are seeing detail based on product basis, and we can decide to see it on categories. So those are what we have just done inside Power BI Desktop, and we can click on home and we see just some summary of what we are going to create right here. So when you set this particular date, range. So it shows the analysis and gives you the rundown right here. And if you go to the full report, the date range you've set is what you're seeing right here. Analysis between this particular 2010 to 2013 right here is what you are actually seeing. So ladies and gentlemen, subscribe and let's actually create this all together down to the last code. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Keep watching. So